Ace Ventura reference.
Mm-hmm.
That was from the first one, right?
I believe so. The
He's
first
talking
ones
to
are
Courtney
always
Cox.
the better
Number
ones.
two.
I'm
Yeah.
not back soon. Just wait longer.
Just wait longer.
My son is
The
convinced, based on the strength of his impression of William Shatner in the pool at the beginning of the movie, when he's investigating, that Ace Ventura is played by William Shatner. I can't convince him otherwise.
Hmm.
It's like, why is Captain Kirk in this movie? Like, he's just playing. Never mind.
I don't know what to do with my voice.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, hey, we're live. Oops.
Oops. I said we were going live, and now we are. Because I'm a man.
I wasn't listening.
I'm a man. I'm a man. Merman.
Not
Reload.
Man.
Reload. Red rum.
Uh-oh. You broke the chat again.
I did not. I'm not done fixing it.
Yeah.
Da 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 da. Name that song.
Unless it's a pick of the week, I'm not paying attention.
I don't have a confused.
Pretty sure Laura should. He knows. He's of the right generation.
The golden generation? Or what, the jazzy
Something
set? Is
like
that what you're
that.
saying?
The jazzy set.
How about now?
How? What now? How
Now.
now?
No,
Wrong.
don't.
There it is. You did it.
Don't do it.
Did it again.
You did it again.
Marty in the YouTube chat
At least I'm still alive.
implies that Kent got a haircut. That's an outrageous lie.
That's a damn rumor. Stupid
Are you
lie.
alive, Kent?
Nope.
Is he still
No.
there?
No,
He's not.
very, very still.
He's not even doing a good Josh impression.
No, he's not. This is Kenton's still life. It's like a oil painting, except not as colorful, not as saturated. Don't tell him I said that.
I have a horrible fear that Kent might be using an AMD Ryzen platform.
Hey, I'm using an AMD Ryzen platform.
But you're not using a Sony A6000 plugged into a 4K.
Oh, you're right. I'm not.
No, I
This
am
is
not.
An ancient Logi 920.
Can we talk about the?
I think this thing is at least a decade old.
Can we talk about the performance issues on not that old Ryzen boards with USB,
like what?
high-speed USB?
What?
There might have been an issue there.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about this before.
I know, and I think that may have been kind of what's going on down there.
What if Kent doesn't even know? What if he's still interacting with us?
Ooh.
And he just thinks we're ignoring him?
Right.
Like
And it
usual?
looks like we're
All
just
those
not
guys.
not paying attention to him. That would be mean. We wouldn't do that. Well, not all of us would do that. Some of us
Yeah,
would do
I
that.
would.
Yeah,
Just to
there
be
you go.
funny, though, in a mean way.
Can't.
I was watching the Brady Rogers Allen Mahomes match, and that was a lot of fun.
Well, that was today? Oh.
Yeah,
Oh, was it?
the last I saw, the kids are up a stroke.
Kent has bad news for us. The worst has happened.
He's had a power outage.
No. Let me read the actual message here. I don't know what just happened. PC just shut down, and now I'm getting repair options.
Jeez. See, that's why you don't overclock.
That's why. Never mind. I'm not going to say what I was going to say. But yeah,
Wild,
he probably
Wild
overclocks
West.
everything all the time.
Everybody now, Wild Wild West.
In all honesty, I'm on a Ryzen 5800X machine. Not stressing it really, anyway. Not doing 4K capture.
Is it overclocked? Is that what you're trying to allude to?
Oh, definitely not. Definitely not.
Okay. In all honesty,
no.
I'm not overclocked at all, and therefore,
Not in the least bit overclocked. This is, I guess you would consider this a mid-level board nowadays, an RTX 2080. So, is that a mid-level board now?
the 2080.
Yeah.
I mean, as long as they're still like $500+, then no.
No, it's probably more than that now.
I don't know. Prices seem to have kind of stabilized at the 10 to 20% over MSRP level.
I'm actually a little bit surprised. I was checking in pricing, and we got an article on this today at Micro Center, everybody's favorite shopping place, and the prices have gone back up. Like, what the hell just happened there? A card I was tracking at about 800 is now 11. Oh, they've still got 10 of them. They had 12 of them. Well, I don't know.
Looks like you can get a Mind Half to Death 2080 on eBay for around $400.
See, sub 500. Yes, you're welcome. It was more expensive at Micro Center. It's not usually the case.
Looking forward to Larrabee. Yes, Neil, so am I. I mean, we already have Larrabee.
It'll loop around again.
I'm hoping for i740 at least. Because Larrabee was canceled.
Jeremy cashed his checks tonight. Yeah, I think you spelled
What
cached
did I
wrong.
miss?
Cached.
I don't know. Some comment YouTube.
No, I saw
Not
that.
sure.
I just what did I miss?
I don't know. Oh, payments for the final settlement of optical disk drives. Jeremy,
I know.
did you get your check?
I didn't
The
get
fight
any
isn't
shot.
over yet.
I didn't
The
get
fight
any
isn't
shot.
over yet.
Oh. How much cash? Can I get 256? I'd rather 512
Yeah.
dollars. Kent is switching to his main PC and will be there momentarily. The experiment is
switching to
over.
backup.
He's going to go back to the standard computer setup.
Yeah, that's actually what
Well,
we're doing. Besides what we normally do, we're actually waiting for Kent to unrise in his system. No,
believe it
that's
or
not
not,
fair.
this
That's not
is
fair.
not
Forget
just-
I said that.
He's not just, he's stoic, yes. He is somewhat soft-spoken, yes. But not this stoic.
Somebody should do
his
something with
face.
that picture. Thought bubbles.
Somebody's eating Thai food. What is the dish? What type of Thai food are you eating?
Gavin says Kent looks like one of those turn-based game characters.
Kent does look like he belongs in an RPG. Penang curry. Okay. I don't know if I've ever had Penang curry.
Tasty.
Yes, Kent is definitely of the frozen kind right now.
That looks good. Red Thai curry. Thick, salty, and sweet.
Mm-hmm.
I keep saying it's not this kind of podcast. It's not.
What, food?
No, oh, food. I'm sorry. I misunderstood.
I usually get pad preek. It's basically stir-fry vegetables in a garlic brown sauce. With tofu. That's how I order it. Medium spicy. Used to do much spicier, but then I developed acid reflux as an older man.
Fair.
It was really weird that I got that real bad, and then it just went away.
I hope that happens to me too. When did it go away for you?
I suffered for about 5 years, and then maybe it's just scarred over, and I don't feel it anymore.
I hope so. For me,
It's now
that
just
can happen.
base level pain. You're not even noticing.
Yeah.
Just background level.
No, I think I changed some of my eating habits and especially drinking habits, and so
Okay.
It worked
That
out a
will do
little bit better. Yep.
I think drinking a half gallon of hot coffee a day didn't help me at all.
No, that does not help at all. I have 1 tumbler of coffee, and it's essentially 2 cups, and that's it a day. Don't drink every day, as in like alcohol wise. Try to do that only on the weekends.
If you're just joining us,
And maybe
welcome
a
to the
dram
PC
during the
Burst
podcast.
live stream. Oh wait, you usually have a little thing down there. What are those cups or glasses that you use, Josh? What is that called?
I don't know. It comes some kind of snifter
Okay.
chimney. I don't know.
Look, I had a
Jeremy
glass like
might know.
that, and you were merciless making fun of me last time I drank out of it.
Who, me?
Yeah, but you were drinking beer out of yours. You drink beer out of a wine glass.
It's not a wine glass. It's
It's
not.
a champagne flute.
When you have a
It was
stem
flute, wasn't
and
it?
your little finger is sticking out, like, hold on, I'm drinking my.
Well, I mean, you
Blue.
could do that with a beer mug if you wanted, but you look like a dork.
You gotta hold it. Oh, somebody brought the Ogle batter in. Yes, Gavin. I don't know if anybody noticed this last week, but the YouTube thumbnail,
Oh yes.
I painstakingly recreated, like moved letters around in Ogre Battle and then made a new letter to make it say Ogle batter, and then I made it published by Josh Tech 6. It was Josh Tech 64 instead of Nintendo 64. I don't know if anybody saw
It was quite nice.
I didn't notice that.
Yep, see, nobody cared.
I
And
did.
The viewership was down week over week. Nothing I did worked with podcasts last week, apparently. Even with my recreation of the hand incident,
That was
I
hilarious.
know that was really funny.
I
Kent,
made a
I see
hand
that
out of a paper towel and went outside and
Yeah.
recreated it in my driveway.
Kent, you've showered between this time.
What? That's what happened. Oh, the case is in the background and everything.
That's the dead one.
No, that's the case that I reviewed.
Oh, the case you reviewed. Uh-huh.
Yes,
Yes.
we will get to that.
No, the dead one is in the hall. Very lucky that I did not just go get my hand sledge and pound it.
I say that to myself all the time.
All right, now that we're all here,
Do you believe yourself yet?
Quick,
No.
before anybody else drops off.
now that we're all here,
Sorry about that.
Kent, do you have access to the show notes?
Yes, I've already put my pick in, or at least I
Oh, thanks,
had.
Kent. Yes,
And I
they're still
was
there.
using that pick, but am no longer.
How do you feel about it now?
Yeah, I was going to choose this streaming capture device, and I said, F that.
I don't think it was the capture device.
Was the system overclocked? We were all, there was a lot of conjecture.
No, it's a B350 board with a Ryzen 1600 in it.
See?
Mm.
I hate to tell you this, Kent, but that happened to me every time I tried A6000 video on Ryzen. It was a Ryzen 2000 series processor. I don't think it mattered. I tried more than one. Patrick Norton tried, and we both kept getting videos. The video was freezing, it would drop. And then both switched to Intel platforms, and the thing worked perfectly. So, I don't know. Something about USB and 1080 uncompressed capture off of that camera. All right, let's get started.
Someone's a little out of spec, and it probably would be Sony. They don't give a
Yep.
They really don't.
I blame Asmedia. They are the ones who made the USB controller on those boards.
I think you're right.
On which ones? The
B350X,
No, yeah.
370.
No, B3. Yeah, it is as media. Now, what's good is the USB 4.0 controller on the Zen 4.
Wait, don't you mean USB 5, Josh?
Yeah, I know. That's as media.
I saw
Yeah,
that
well,
comment. I'm like,
we all have
fuck.
our-
He was talking about PCI Gen 5. And then I looked and let the video.
No,
clip
I
up,
did
when
do
he said
USB 5.
like, oh no,
So I'll
USB
hold my
5. It's like,
tongue.
oh, okay.
Hey,
I didn't
USB
do
naming
so.
schemes are inherently confusing as
Honest,
it is.
okay, USB 3 2x2. That's like
Gen
USB
2
4.1.
or Gen 1?
Yeah, USB
No, that's Gen 2.
Gen 2 by 2. Which 3 Gen 2 was 4. What the hell do you think Gen 2 of a 3.0 is? And what is 3.1 Gen 1 anyway, really? Isn't it just 3.0? Because it's the same
Super speed.
throughput. Has the same throughput.
It's
Yeah,
super
but it's
speed. It is super speed.
And then there's the difference between the one that charges at a higher
Yeah.
amperage and the other. Okay.
Or
Let's
the
just-
one that's always on as opposed when your system is even when it's off, so you can charge
Yes,
overnight.
yes.
Yeah,
Alright.
USB confusing.
Let's do it. Here in the video editing, 3-minute and 25-second mark. Okay.
What is this? I don't understand.
When I'm scrubbing the video, I look for some kind of a motion or something like, oh, stop here. This is the start of the show. I usually go like 3, 2. Hey, everybody. Welcome
should
back
all-
to the PC Perspective Podcast. Hey, everybody. Everybody, shut up. Too many close-ups. I need one of those screens like Josh had. Welcome back to the PC Perspective Podcast. We've reached episode 679. This is being recorded on the 1st of June, 2022. I'm Sebastian Peak.
I'm Jeremy Hellstrom.
I'm Josh Walrath.
I'm Brett Van Sproonberg.
And I'm Kent Burgess.
Yes, and featuring special guest. Actually, I'm going to raise
KB.
Kent's level just a little bit while I'm thinking about it.
Well, he's got a fresh mic. Kent just unboxed a fresh mic, sort of.
Brand new?
Well, I think he changed PCs
Okay, let's see.
I did.
right after he showered in the inner.
Yeah. It's going to be fresh. I clearly did not shower. So.
I'm taking a shower right now because there's no AC in my house.
I get it. Because you're drowning in your own sweat.
There it is.
You can help support this site and our podcast distribution by going to patreon.com/PCPer. We want to thank new patron Spidey this week. Thank you, Spidey. We could not do it without you. And everyone, thank you all. At some point, I should do like a roll, I don't know, all the names. Maybe I'll do that over the end
Yeah.
of the show.
Well, it's okay. His spider sense probably told him that you
Oh, okay.
said his name, so.
That's good. Yes. Something is tingling. Hopefully, north.
Make that better.
Yeah. All right. It's time for our most important segment of the week. Food with Josh, a.k.a. Burger of the Week, Laramie, Wyoming. Josh, take it away.
All right, so let me bring up the board on this one. It was shockingly tasty. I wasn't sure how it would come out, but it's called the Green Machine. So if those who enjoy 70s movies, wait, that's Mean Machine, right? Anyway,
Green Machine.
the Green Machine,
Mm-hmm.
a double burger topped with jalapenos, shredded cheddar, and pork green chili. This was nicely done. There was a lot of cheddar on the burger, as you well can see. But under that cheddar is the green chili, and of course topped with jalapenos. This is a messy burger, so it had to be eaten with a fork and a knife. The beef flavors were not covered up by, even though the beef is covered up by all that stuff. The flavors were, just popping. Everything was complimentary. It wasn't overly done. Yeah, that's some greasy cheese, but it's finally aged shredded cheddar. So I had a great time eating that one. I'm still full, and someone screaming in the background while I'm doing my burger review. It's so popular.
You probably didn't share the burger with them, so they're mad.
I did not, and so they're mad. No, they're making some creamy garlic chicken breast thing with mashed potatoes. So I think they're going to be fine.
Where are the fries? Have you given up on their fries?
I,
They
you know,
failed you
I've
one too
been
many times.
exercising a little bit more,
Oh.
and so I dumped some calories, and I just had a salad because I read that, you know, with that much cheese, I just think, you know, adding more starch on top of that is it's just asking for trouble.
But asking for flavor? Is what you're saying?
Well, yeah, flavor's good, but yeah, I haven't had a good time with their cheese lately, so I take it.
Naked
Yes.
bacon.
Indeed.
Mm.
Let's move on to the news, and our top story has to be the article that we couldn't quite talk about this last week because in between recording the podcast and publishing the edited version of the podcast, AMD decided to change, or I don't even know how to describe this.
Well, they
Correct.
corrected information
Information
that
that they were
they
adamant
previously
about the other way days
Yeah,
ago.
yeah.
It didn't fit on the slide. Come on.
See, I fixed their slide for them here. So when they said up to 170 watts, and then we're very specific with media, this is PPT. It is not. It's like peak power target or whatever that stands for. Peak package power tracking. Okay. It was up to 170, and then some internet sleuths figured out, you know, that means. Oh, why am I not signing on this? See, Paul Alcorn figured out, talking to AMD specifically, actually. The direct quote from AMD, Paul Alcorn, the AMD Socket AM5 platform supports infrastructure groups up to 170 watts PPT. So that was the official word on May 23. The 170 figure given by AMD was PPT, not TDP. Dr. Potato also said that he had verified this himself, or that they had very clearly stated this when he asked the question specifically. And then AMD comes out 3 days later and says, no, it's actually up to 230 watts PPT, and that 170 watt is a TDP. So the part that they showed on stage at 5.5 gigahertz was probably a 170 watt TDP part.
Isn't that amazing? The smaller we get, the higher the TDPs. There was kind of a golden age there for a little bit, where, you know, Intel, their top part was 65, 67 watts, because, you know, they didn't need to really go past that because there was no competition. And then they jumped that up to like 77 watts, and then 87, and then over 100, and now they're sitting, you know, officially 130 with, you know, pulling 230 PPT, I guess you would call that, though they probably call it something different than AMD. And now we're at the point where, you know, it's a 5 nanometer part. They're hugely complex. They're pushing billions and billions of transistors, and you know, materials and that kind of stuff is just not kept up. So while we're, you know, optimizing for density, and they are optimizing for power and thermals and all of that, it's just they're becoming so complex. You've got to apply a lot of power to all of those billions of transistors. No matter how much gating you're doing and other things, I mean, if you want to hit performance targets that are comparable to the competition, or, you know, at least where you think the competition is going to be, you've got to push that envelope, and now that envelope's getting pretty ragged.
There seems to be a couple different narratives out there. One, AMD is sandbagging, so of course they're going to have some unbelievable performance that we don't know anything about yet, and higher than 16 cores, which is absolutely not going to happen. And then the other is that power doesn't matter. Like, this isn't a big deal. And it's funny to me that the people who were rolling on the floor laughing at Intel with their 241 watts suddenly don't think that power matters that much now that AMD is going to be hitting 230. So, I don't know.
As usual, it depends on who's doing it.
Man, think
Things are
about
getting
the,
so
the
tiny that
as
it's
mere
a little more interesting to move stuff around or to flip states or to perform calculations in those tiny, tiny spaces. You need more power than you'd like to be able to do very tiny, very precise things. So you kind of have to worry about that as well. Josh?
Yeah, it's kind of funny to look back. Like Mere PPC asked, what's the TDP of a Pentium MMX? 233, 266, and those things were between 27 and 47 watts. And if you look back at the cooling at the time, it was pretty basic stuff. They really didn't start exploring the higher TDPs, and until Pentium 2, Pentium 3 definitely. And the K7, they were getting up there, but still, as compared to 130, 170 watt TDP, those were low. It wasn't until you got to like the Athlon 1200, the non XP, that thing got pretty damn toasty. So, yeah, I just remember a story. Oscar Wu was a very, very famous motherboard designer, and AMD came out with like a K7 board, and they said they say you need this amount of phases and this amount of power, and he looks and he's like, AMD's wrong. What do you mean AMD's wrong? He just X'd out things. They're wrong. It's going to be higher. And sure enough, AMD came out with a thing that said, oh, by the way, our TDPs and power draw and that are not correct, but Oscar had already designed that in to his flow. So it's an interesting little, there are geniuses walking around us. He was an odd dude, just would sleep in his office, bad hygiene, but he was ABIT, not ASUS. But he was a brilliant engineer. Anyway.
I had some 8-bit boards, Josh. I always liked those.
You what?
Yeah.
I had some 8-bit boards. I always liked them.
Yeah, everybody liked ABIT because, when you had to call support every couple of months to get it replaced, you got to know the people.
Yeah, exactly.
It wasn't what I was thinking, but
Nice.
Yeah.
Al says, according to AMD, Zen 3 was limited by its TDP. Well, I mean, how many more volts we're going to pump into those things?
Yeah.
1.45 plus volts, 24/7 on a desktop CPU at 7 nanometers.
Wow, you got RGBs on your CPU die? No, it's actually just growing red. It's that hot.
Yeah. I am a little concerned about temperatures with the new CPUs.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like they're going to be soldering the CPU to the heat spreader, but there will just be thermal paste for the I/O die, which I'm assuming.
But there's speed
also...
holes at the side.
What does that mean exactly?
Well, they could be called notches if you make it feel better.
Oh, okay.
No, they had to do that to be able to encompass the design of the PCB, yet still retain the AM4 cooler compatibility.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
But will
So it's more
AM4
expensive heat spreader because it's more complex, but it looks cool.
But the real question is how hard is it going to be to delid them?
It's going to be impossible.
You don't want to do it. Don't do it.
No.
Drew Bauer's going to do it anyway, but just don't do it.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sure we'll talk more about this in the coming months when we finally have CPUs available, but let's move on to Intel. Equal time here on the PC Pro Podcast. Intel's Falcon Shores XPU. Don't call it an APU, it's an XPU. Because, it has XE graphics.
I get it now. Yeah.
Yes. It has greater than 5 times performance per watt. I don't know what they're comparing that to. Greater than a Pentium 2. I'm not sure what that means, but there's probably some tiny print somewhere. Performance targets based on estimates relative to current platforms in February 2022. Okay.
Yeah, so like NVIDIA's A100.
That
seems
would it
to
be
be
current
what they're going
Intel
for.
platforms?
No, that's competition they're talking about.
Oh, okay. That would be big if that's the case.
It certainly would.
Ponte Vecchio.
So I do appreciate that this is easier to pronounce than Ponte Vecchio or Vecchio or however you're supposed to pronounce that.
How is that pronounced? Okay, I guess
I don't know.
No,
Falcon
Vecchio.
Shores.
Ponte Vecchio.
Ponte Vecchio.
I don't know.
one of those sounded Canadian.
The other sounded American.
Is there a story here, Jeremy?
No.
Or do you mean about Falcon Shores?
Yes,
This.
please.
Yes.
I thought you were talking about pronunciation here. So, no, the XPU is a little different from the APU in that Intel is planning on selling it as more of a package, so you can decide how many CPU cores you want and how many Xe cores you want, up to the point where if you actually want it, it could be just pure CPU or pure GPU. So I don't know if that's so much of a SKU thing or if they're actually really planning on making individual broken out packages, because this is for HPC. Like, this is for the big guys. You're not going to be slapping this in anything short of a gigantic supercomputer anytime soon. So the idea that they could actually, customize it to that level seems interesting, and okay, that's a little bit different from an APU, but at the same time, we don't know, and we're just barely seeing Ponte Vecchio hitting now. Like, it's just sort of coming up. One of the first ones is a supercomputer at Argonne National Laboratory, and this is the next generation afterwards. So, we're going to have to see how the design of their current stuff in HBM2E that they've incorporated into it compares with what's currently on the market, because by the time this comes around, of course, NVIDIA is already going to have their next generation out. AMD is certainly getting much more into the HPC market. ARM, is doing their own thing and moving solidly forward for that. So if what Intel is saying with those 5 times improvements, this would be, absolutely amazing. There'd be no question of buying it unless the prices are obscene and more than 5 times, which they're probably not going to be. I don't know. It's going to be interesting because you're counting on HBM3, which we haven't really seen in market. They're talking about PCIe 5.0 and 6.0 support, which we don't have on market, but the theoretical numbers all add up. So it's going to be interesting to see sort of how this comes out over the next couple of, because this is not coming out by the end of the year. This will be, sometime next year, 2024. In the meantime, though, it's showing that, we're changing how a lot of computing is doing. NVIDIA or Intel is really doing this, efficiency core, power core, and really pushing Xe, which I really hope to meet someday as more than just, a low cost thing to add on to a laptop processor.
What's really interesting about a lot of this, and this was a discussion brought up on Twitter, when they put these complex chips together, the yield rate really kind of hurts it bad, because you can't easily remove these chips from the substrates that they're bonded to. And so you've got all these good chips, and you do the manufacturing to bond them on their substrates, whatever they want to call it, whether it's, direct to the PCB, or the EMIB type stuff. If any of those fail, you have a useless chip on your hand, and you have 9 or 12 pieces of perfectly good silicon that you're just throwing away. And so there are some obvious advantages, because you can create a very, very large chip. Of course, the phone has to ring right in the middle of a rant. It's a spam.
It's Raja. He's mad.
He's not mad. He doesn't even know I
The rant police.
Josh, isn't that
Yeah.
your request line? That's the request line, isn't it, Josh?
It is. There's somebody calling about my papers.
Josh, I'm sorry to tell you this, but your automotive warranty is about to expire.
It is.
Mm.
Yeah.
On
So
a car that
anyway,
you traded in 7 years ago.
yeah.
All right, go ahead.
So yeah, the bad thing is that of course you throw all these perfectly good chips away, and there's a reason why these products are as high margin as they are, because you're throwing a lot of really good chips away that you could use. And so certainly, yeah, you can't do a single die with stuff this size. I mean, you could in theory, but it gets really kind of sketchy, and yields are even worse than having EMIB mounting problems. So yeah, it's a great idea on paper, and for the very high end, it's still a very good idea because you can adjust these really high end margins to be able to handle the loss of silicon and the loss of these entire packages. So it's a balance. It's something that we will see at the lower end with up to like 5 chips, maybe 6, depending on different categories. But also in the future, they're going to get this technology down a little bit better. So I mean, chiplets, they are the future. They're where we're at right now. I mean, if you got an AMD Ryzen processor that is not a mobile or APU, then you've got chiplets, but it's all on, at least on that as a PCB substrate, an organic substrate, versus EMIB or having a full silicon interposer. So, sorry to derail with a rant, but there are challenges ahead with all of the ways that they're going with this.
Yes. Shall we move on?
Moving.
All right.
Okay.
Since we're talking about Intel, some very exciting developments in Intel Arc desktop graphics. I know we like to touch on this at least once a week because there's so much going on, and it's hard to keep track of all of it. I don't want to just kind of save it up until launch, but the latest is that Intel, they've entered the game. Arc for desktop. Wait, no, then the next day they're like, no, that was a mistake, so I took it down. Video cards had the scoop here.
Oops.
And
It's lag.
days ago.
They thought they'd join the game, but the lag is so bad that they just
Yeah, they
Can't
were on
really
Stadia. They're
play
like,
it.
oh, damn it.
Yeah.
Okay. And then the predictive, it was the predictive input that failed them. Sadly. That was published on the 28th, so nothing new since then, except that no longer is there any reference to it on the website. In actual news, that'll be a seamless cross dissolve into this screen. VMware. Wait, who bought who? VMware, Broadcom.
bought
Something
VMware
happened.
yeah.
Broadcom.
for a buttload of money.
Who owned VMware
Zillions.
before?
1 million. Everyone.
VMware.
Oh, it was just a publicly traded company.
VMware is a little bit. Yeah, it's been around a bit.
Oh, that's right. It was Dell who owned it before.
Yeah.
What else
Okay.
is Broadcom owning? I see you're mentioning a technological Swiss Army knife. What else do they have their hands in besides chips, Wi-Fi, chips, networking?
I mean, like they did some containerization stuff. I've never run into Heptio before. Pivotal, which you might have heard of before, where that's a bunch of consultants come in, swoop in, and say, all of your kit's got to go. You got to buy this brand new stuff. It'll be wonderful. Here's the
That's
gigantic
any
bill.
consultant. That's any consultant.
And here's the bill for the hardware. The hardware bill's over there. This is just my bill.
Oh.
But that was one of their tools for doing that. And of course, Broadcom would be looking at the infrastructure side of it and saying, hey, let's integrate our stuff in so that the tool actually has it as, the recommended stuff. So it's weird because Broadcom has always been sort of the hardware guys.
Mm-hmm.
Even anything, the purchasing they did was more to sell their hardware. So to grab VMware, which is just pure virtualization, seems a little odd, but at the same time, everything's a service now. So if Broadcom wanted to start looking at hardware as a service type stuff, that would make sense. Because now all of a sudden you're time sharing on the fiber interconnects that you've got going, or you're time sharing on some of the networking gear that they're running. So you don't have to pay for the entire chunk. You're just, paying for your virtualized instance of it. Other than that, this just baffles me. I don't get it.
Is this? Are you suggesting this is virtualization? Virtual networking on your virtual hardware?
I mean, that has to be the next step, right? That your virtual software is running on.
You're selling people virtual hardware now. I mean,
it's service as a service.
Okay. All right.
It's beyond hardware as a service or operating system as it's just service as a service.
SOS. Wait, no, SaaS.
SaaS, yeah.
Service.
But you can't call it that because that's already taken.
Oh. I do like the service as a service.
Other than that, I don't understand what they're thinking. And you don't toss around 61 billion just for LARFs unless you're a certain evil genius or at least evil mastermind.
You wonder what Broadcom's identity is? Obviously, they're the company that owns VMware. That's their product. That's their identity. Don't worry about the past.
Do you know how many people use VMware?
George Orwell.
I mean,
a lot of people.
Billion.
Oh man, it's just my group. We have many VMware licenses, and we pay a lot for it. But it kind of pays for itself because we've got hardware that is so dense, so many threads, so much memory, all of that. It doesn't make sense to run just a single OS on a lot of these machines that you get for $10,000.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
I mean, that's going to be 10 grand will get you 2 EPYC processors with 48 plus threads, 128 gigs plus memory, and then at least 6 terabytes worth of storage, and you run a variety of Linux and Microsoft based products on top of that, and you do it very, very well. And they have the management that they have for it. I mean, you have a couple of hosts around there. You can easily transfer these VMs to other machines in just like an instant.
Or change their parameters relatively quickly.
Oh yeah,
It makes
it's
deployments scalable, so you can do the same thing
so
over and over
easy
again.
and scalable and redundant, and it just depends on how much you want to pay them for what products, but they just make it very, very easy to deploy across medium, large size businesses.
Broadcom's got a plan to make 61 billion back on this, so I see the
Somehow.
subscription model, maybe changing in the future or becoming tiered.
Yeah.
And optimize it to run on Broadcom hardware. And
Let's just say optimized.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Financially
that's
optimized.
what we like. That's what the companies like to use nowadays.
Financially optimized.
Yeah,
We're leveraging the power of the blockchain to raise
That'll be in there
prices
somewhere.
across the board. All right, quickly, next we had a story on the list from our friends at the FPS Review who was looking at a very flashy looking, kind of cyberpunk inspired motherboard design from BioStar.
Tron.
It looks
That's
like
exactly
it.
what I was thinking. Tron.
It's
Yep.
GTA
Tron,
though,
you're
isn't
right.
that Grand Theft
You're
Auto?
right, Kent.
But this
It
totally
is.
looks like Tron. I mean, look at that.
It does. Mm-hmm.
Greater Tron Authority.
Makes sense.
That's the ones in charge of the speed bikes. Or the white bikes,
Yeah.
if you want to call them that.
So this is an
Well, look at
example
this. It's
of
even drawn like the Tron. The box picture looked like the speeder bikes or the light cycles.
They couldn't afford the licensing, so it's a GTA.
this looks a lot like an ASRock Phantom Gaming X kind of.
I bet those two chipset fans sort of sound like the Tron light cycles as well.
Yep.
This is what was especially making me think of that motherboard. Anyway, this is a Z690 motherboard from BioStar, and it takes DDR4 memory. So
Yeah.
take advantage of that ultra affordable, high speed, low latency DDR4 stuff that's so readily available everywhere. And I'm not being sarcastic, actually. For once, it is. Look at the output on this board. You've got to love
DVI.
You've got to love boards like this.
Wow.
If you're listening to the podcast, it has DisplayPort, HDMI, DVI output. It has USB and PS2 for your peripherals.
Hey, PS2 in a way was actually better than USB for certain inputs because it's interrupt driven versus
You're
round
preaching to the
robin.
choir, Brett. PS2 is better always.
Yes, it is. It is better.
Let's see. I went too far. CPU power. It is not fun to try to benchmark one motherboard against another, I have to say.
No, it's pretty boring.
Monstrous differences.
Yeah, so they put it against a Maximus Z690 Extreme from Asus or Asus or ASUS.
Asses.
Asus.
We could have an
Asus.
entire podcast on just the pronunciation of this. And it looks like it's just a little bit behind, as one would expect. But the cost, though, I mean, these are really close. What is the value proposition of this? I'm assuming it's a little bit cheaper than $319.
And the Z690 Extreme that was being tested against is a DDR5 motherboard as
Oh,
well.
okay. All right.
Yeah.
I'm dumb, of course. There is very little difference.
Can I ask about that?
I should have actually looked at their test setup, but I did not for some reason. Probably because I'm not good at this.
You're a Dumal.
Yeah, yes. They used Trident Z Royal 3600 CAS 16. And then on the other board...
Yeah, no, they did find
Wait a
DDR4
minute.
brought on that board.
What? Hold on.
Wait, no.
No, it's the same.
They're both
What do they
BioStar
do?
based.
Uh-oh.
Something is terribly wrong here. Okay, here's these.
There you go.
Trident Z
Dan, there you go.
6000 CAS 36 for the
That's pretty good stuff.
Maximus.
That's
Yeah, so
some
even
of
with
the
the
better
major
DDR5 out there.
Yes, and look at the huge difference it makes in performance.
Exactly. If you're looking at, I think one of the bigger differences would probably end up being gaming, which I should have looked at. Or did they test gaming? Maybe they didn't because they don't hate themselves. Gaming testing between motherboards is such a pain.
I think Jeremy posted an article a few weeks ago that was showing the minimal differences between DDR4 and 5 on similar systems. And that's still the only comparison I've seen. It's almost like people aren't wanting to go down that road of comparing the two.
With a mind to doing this, I bought with my own money a Gigabyte Z690 DDR4 board on Amazon a little while back. I was planning on doing a bunch of comparison testing DDR4 versus DDR5 with the same CPU, same graphics card, and it has not I've not done this yet. So if there's enough interest, maybe I will get to that. But anyway, let's move on to another exciting topic, one that's hotly debated at all times. You know, the right time to buy a GPU. Is it now? Are prices going to continue to drop? Is Bitcoin going to pick up steam again? Video Cards posted something on the 30th of May. NVIDIA and AMD graphics cards on their way to MSRP. Well, I feel like it hit kind of a lull in the price drops, though.
I tend to agree.
How much further can they really go? I mean, we are seeing at the top end, like 3090s go for about $100 below MSRP. But when you start getting a little lower than that, I mean, you know, we had that little blip where MSI had the 12 gig 3080 for just a little bit more than a regular 3080. But yeah, I mean, it is definitely slowed down. We're seeing small sales here and there. And again, at the high end, we see a little bit more leeway. in that because it has softened up pretty dramatically. But yeah, I don't know if we're going to see a whole lot of drops from here on out. Maybe in late June we'll get some, just because we're expecting not the release, but the announcement of the next generation of graphics, and that always tends to get people a little excited about getting rid of some of their surplus products in the channel.
Now, I mentioned this earlier, but in all fairness, I need to admit that I've been keeping track of certain pricing for some AMD GPUs on Micro Center, and recently the price went up. I'm a little bit surprised by that. I was tracking some 6800 XTs, a couple of different ones, MSI, Gigabyte ones, hovering around 800. They just jumped up to 11 and 9. A little surprised by that. Not sure what's going on.
Maybe they
Maybe
know
availability
something
is, well, they're not making them anymore, right? Right? They're not making them? Oh, they've gone to the 50 series. So 6800 XT, for instance, not being made. All right? It's not even on
Where have
AMD
you
side
had this
anymore.
verified? I don't remember seeing this officially anywhere.
Oh, it's
Yeah,
not on
I-
AMD
Come
side
out and said
anymore.
it's EOL.
I don't believe
No.
they have, no.
No, it's still being made because we haven't heard a whole lot about NVIDIA. We've heard even less about AMD's next generation RDNA 3, and so
You sure it's still being made? It's not on their site anymore.
the 6800 XT or the 6800.
6800 XT.
Yeah, it's still being made, as far as I'm know.
Hmm.
Now the 6800, no,
Let's see.
they're getting rid of that one.
Oh, they still have it on their site. I see. But I was checking their check availability. I just did this a little while ago. Let's see. 6750, 6900.
6750. I mean, obviously those are new. 6950s, brand new.
Well,
But yeah, the 6800 is now kind of being overshadowed by the 6750, and so
Yeah.
they're just throwing that into the trash bin of history and going
Yeah.
with the 6750.
you can pick up one of those Speedster Merc 319 RX 6800 XTs for the same $799. That hasn't changed since Josh's
Yeah.
review went up. It thinks I'm in Tustin. Thanks, AT&T Fiber.
The 6900 XT of that XFX card had been $899, but it's back up to I think $1049 on Newegg now.
Yeah, the price has
See.
jumped. Now, how come the 6800 XT is not in the AMD store?
That inventory
Yeah,
changes.
they
very
I
often.
think AMD's really cutting back on what they're offering. And they probably have stopped making the reference versions of the 6800, 6800 XT.
That
and,
makes sense.
6700.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay.
Whoa. $1349
Neep.
for the Speedster Merc.
Yeah,
6800.
it may be with all the prices that dropped as much as they did, there
That's
was
6900.
Potentially a rush on these cards, and we're seeing just a pop up. I don't know.
Well, EVGA about 2 weeks ago had, I'm not kidding, dozens of cards in stock. And I just looked on their website, and the only card they're showing in stock right now is the 3080 10 gig for the Win 3.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, there
there's
is
some
going to be
stuff
some
moving.
there's going to be some ebb and flow because as it gets to MSRP, people will grab it up. We also have to deal with the lockdowns in China where they produced a lot of these cards. That's going to affect availability. So I don't know.
It just ended today, by the way.
Really?
Lockdown in China. Yeah.
Oh, no. Well, Sebastian's seeing more than I saw, but still.
Yeah, if you want to get a hybrid model or a liquid cooled model, apparently those are available. Okay, we have. Oh, whoa, whoa.
Oh wow, there's all kinds of them.
689. Is this a refurb? Oh, nope.
That's
3070
nice.
in
Yeah.
stock for $689 though. Good lord. I would never. I can't.
I know, but still.
I swear these prices were lower. When I did that, when I was at
Yeah.
869, that was the okay. I'm looking at the difference between a 10 gig versus 12 gig version of the 3080. Okay, but look at the price difference. Good God, 1149.
Is that HBM?
Ah,
An extra 2 gigs freaking HBM?
Yeah.
It's partition. Sorry, it's partitioned off, and it runs
Ah,
at
right.
half the speed. So
I don't know why. I must have clicked just 3080, but I thought I clicked all
They
cards.
have no list.
will RDNA 3 be built from the ground up for ray tracing, or was that a fad? We could talk about that.
No and no.
Yeah. Oh, okay. All right. Moving on to something important.
the throwback segment of the show.
Yes. Amiga emulation. Now, we already have solid Amiga emulation on computers, but here's another option that claims to be totally cross-platform. AmiKit. AmiKit? I'm guessing if it's Amiga, would it be Amiga? It's AMIKIT. However that's pronounced. More than just your average emulator, writes Jeremy Hellstrom at PCPro.com.
Full HD 32-bit screen modes? Did your
Yeah,
Amiga
and
do that?
Amiga OS 3.2 and Amiga OS 4. Very, very
Now,
interesting.
does it have generic ROMs for those? Or do we need to provide dubiously legal ROMs to run these?
The kernel will automatically appear, apparently.
Oh, okay. Okay. What is the other one called? I have it set up on my Windows computer. It's UAFF8. I don't know.
He doesn't know.
FSUAE is the current standard as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, when you want to play Shadow of the Beast.
All right, here's the one that I use, which is also cross-platform. FSUAE. And it also has like the generic cores if you don't have like a system ROM file. And it works very well. It's a little bit, I mean, this is, I don't see a larger view here.
Does it have anti-aliased fonts on it?
I don't know, but setting up a game is kind of a pain because you got to like manually go in and load individual images in your virtual floppy drives, but you can set the Amiga model that you want, and you can tweak settings and things, and works quite well. Has full screen windowed options.
Does it have a rabbit hole that you can launch to get you back into your base OS from within
No,
Amiga?
I don't think so. I always have to just reset
This
the whole thing.
does.
I'm probably just doing it wrong. I just wonder what the basis of this new project is.
Well, it's not new.
Oh, okay.
This one's been around for a while. It's just this is a new major release. Before they were having issues with the Raspberry that they're not now.
Maybe it's like OpenEMU.
Modern-
just the interface
modern
is
retro.
nicer.
64-bit,
Okay.
Oh,
Faster
64-bit
and
architecture.
preciser. Okay.
Yes, more precise.
Preciser.
All right. So
Hey, English
they
is
don't have to
hard.
be English majors to design good. Okay.
And if you want the Vampire V2 kit, yeah, you can actually screw around with that.
Oh, A500 Mini was finally released here in the U.S. Apparently, according to G-Shack 3.
Oh, finally.
Is it just as overpriced for the U.S. market as it was for the rest
Tradition.
of the world? Okay. Not that I'm salty about it, because I wanted to buy it, and then I thought I cannot. It's just another Raspberry Pi emulator thing, mini console. Should be $50. Let's see what it is on Amazon right now. Okay, it is more than $50.
$140.
Yep. That is too much.
Oh, the mouse.
The Mouse Electronic Games. $29.22. See, if the C64 Mini is $40. The A500 Mini is $140. There seems to be a little bit of a problem here. They got there's like a template formatting error. That one's not supposed to be there. I think I would pay I think if it was $79.99, I would be tempted.
The A500 one looks cooler.
Okay, I hear $79.99. Do I hear 82? 82.38.
No.
Trying to find any Raspberry Pi right now is nearly impossible. And so
they disappeared.
It makes sense that something
Yeah.
like this is also
see.
hard to find.
No, they disappeared back in October or so of last year, completely, pretty much.
Yeah.
All right. How about a feel-good story from Jeremy about NASA's ingenuity?
Well, and the Mars Flight Simulator trailer, because you can actually watch the recording of it bombing around on its 25th flight. Now, I mean, it's sort of amazing to think that our Martian helicopters made 25 flights, but see, the thing is, they were hoping for about 4. So this is pretty amazing, and they're already planning a 29th. And the other thing is that back at the beginning of last month, it stopped talking. Perseverance was no longer talking back to Ingenuity because the solar panels got covered enough that it couldn't charge the batteries. Now, this is kind of bad, not just because you need that little tiny bit of power to keep things going, but it needs a defroster to run overnight so it doesn't freeze solid, and by losing power, or at least losing one of the last bits of things to go, which is communication up to the mothership, there was some serious concerns that was it. She was toast. Mind you, significantly longer after it was supposed to have died, but it didn't. But the thing came back. And now here, if you've ever had to deal with someone whose CMOS clock just refuses to reset, how about trying to do it from Mars? Because that was the thing, is that the clock on it stopped. So it no longer knew accurately what time night started, so that it had to shut down, go into power saving mode, and crank up the heaters. And so, yeah, with a good, at best, 2 megabits a second, they had to figure out how to program the damn thing, get it to reset its RTC, so that everything else could function properly off of the Martian day-night cycle. I'm glad I wasn't on that call.
There's some pretty smart people that work for NASA.
Pretty patient, too. Click. Hey, let's go for coffee. Come back. We'll see if it responds with a yes.
Can it really be time already in our show for gaming quick hits? It is.
Yes, thank the
It
Lord.
can.
Let's talk about, Elden Ring. People are talking about Elden Ring. Somebody that I know was talking to me about Elden Ring the other day, and I'm like, no, I haven't played it. I don't know anything about it. I don't care to.
I asked you guys a couple weeks ago. You guys said, no, I'm not playing it. I don't know
care.
what it is.
But
Sounds
there's
hard.
already a competitor. Steel Rising. Okay, it says Souls-like. Does that mean that Elden Ring is a Souls style?
It
Correct.
Yes.
Yes.
Kind of.
Okay.
What do you mean, kinda?
It's
It's the same people behind it all.
It is.
Oh,
It is the
that's
same
guy.
people.
Okay.
Yeah. Except they added George R.R. Martin. So,
Yeah.
because he needs other things to do other than write Wins a Winner.
which he's still not doing.
Is he still writing on like a DOS word?
I don't
processor?
even. I don't know.
No, he's got all the other series and the comics and that movie theater that he's keeping running, and still
I liked it better
nursing
when
that
he was-
$1,000,000 an episode. So yeah, he's working.
I liked him better when he was writing the Wild Card series long ago.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite
I
series.
think he's still tossing into that, or at least managing editor.
Oh, he does
somewhere.
edit. He
Really?
does edit. Yeah.
Because that isn't
Look and see
over
if there are
yet.
any new ones.
Not in a couple years, but yeah, there's a huge amount.
No, this is a scary-looking
Croyd.
porcelain doll person in this.
No, it's a robot with a powdered wig,
Okay.
and that's actually who you're playing. So yeah, it's the 1700s. It's the French Revolution in a parallel universe where Louis the 14th, or sorry, Louis the 16th, decided to put down the revolution with his robot autonomous army, and you are a member of the proletariat that wants to get rid of the royalty and have to fight the robot minions to do so. As you can see, there's a little more firearms in it than your average Souls-like game. And they did try and make a mode where it's a little less nasty. So if people wanted to experience it but don't have the time or energy to get good, they should still be able to enjoy this.
Oh, so journalists? Is it the journalists mode?
Yeah,
Get
it's
good,
something
Rob.
like that, yeah.
Get good.
Dad mode. And same sort of idea where you've got huge, gigantic bosses sort of camping out in their areas. When you kill things, you get something that's totally not a soul or whatever, which gives you extra powers or extra health. They've got the same sort of health and stamina, where you've got to time your movement right, or you get too low on stamina, you can't do anything. You got to drink your health potions because something sneezed at you, and now you've got 3 hit points left. But the other thing they've done is add in a grappling hook. So, I don't know how many people know much about Paris, but there's a lot of balconies and verticals in there. So the idea is that you'll be able to do that, and then as you get further on in the game, you'll get extra powers to let you Metroidvania a little bit, and so you can go back to old areas and jump around a little bit further than you could have, if you enjoy that sort of thing. I don't know, it's tough to come out with a Souls-like game at the same time that one's already been, hugely popular, but this one is different enough that maybe it's going to survive.
Maybe.
Like Assassin's Creed 4 with robots.
Yeah.
What
And a
was
bit
that?
more heavy on the
Was it
apocalypse.
Unity? Was that Assassin's Creed Unity? Was that title? I believe it was. But yes, it took place in Paris.
Well, I think it looks like crap, personally. It'll never take off. No, sorry, I just feel like crap. My throat is continuing to sort of close up as we go along.
Yeah, I was going to say, you sound kind of rough. So
Yes,
let's,
my,
let's push it along.
Tonsils
Push it
that
real
are
good.
swelling on me as we're going. Here's a edit point. God of War now has an AMD FSR 2.0 support patch. It's the, wait for it, third game to welcome AMD's updated upscaler. So there is now a stable of some 3 games that enjoy the enhanced benefits.
And
I will say,
honestly,
I feel like the
Oh, sorry, go
rollout
ahead.
for DLSS updates is faster, but
from a news perspective, that was it. That was designed to be a quick hit.
yes,
I thought you'd
that's
appreciate it. That was
Yep.
it.
Download the update
3 games.
today. And then finally, it wouldn't be Gaming Quick Hits without us fawning over some Humble Bundle. And here we go. It's the Cities Skylines Colossal Collection. 32 games for $20.
I know it's
Well,
good.
one game, it's just got a lot of
Oh,
Skylines to it now.
DLC. Oh,
DLCs.
Lord.
DLCs.
Okay.
Well, it's one of those games that lives off the DLC.
Well, right, like The Sims. But they didn't call them DLCs back in the day. They called them, what were they? Upgrades? Updates?
Packs. They had like
Packs.
packs. They call it Crater Pack, train stations,
Right.
Crater
Live
Pack,
large
Sunset
pack,
Harbor,
like
Yes.
nightlife, whatever the hell else.
Modern City Center, University City. Yeah.
So yeah, if you like City Skylines and didn't want to pay for all that DLC, is it just a coupon? It just gives you all the codes? I don't really understand. Just pay $20.
I think it's kind of like pay what you want kind of thing.
Well, I think
21
that
add-on.
Skylines is much like Sim, where here's 32 DLCs. That gives you about 1/3 of the available ones.
That's the kind of thing where there'll just never be a complete version that you can actually buy.
But don't overpay. please.
All right, security.
Speaking of
Security
VMware,
Corner begins.
Yeah, guess what else Broadcom bought?
okay, that's not fair.
Hey, they were being held for ransom at the time. They had no choice but to buy it. Cheer script, double extortion malware. This sounds exciting. It's twice the extortion. It's Trend Micro, though. Let's see. I mean, can we really trust them? I know a lot of corporations use Trend Micro. Or at least some do. Researchers at Trend Micro have discovered some new Linux-based ransomware that's being used to attack VMware ESXi. Is there a way to pronounce that I'm not pronouncing properly? Is it XC? XI?
ESXi.
I always pronounce the letters. I just pronounce the letters. Yeah.
They're one of the more business-like people, so it's ESXi.
It's
They're not
VMware,
sexy.
of course. So, Broadcom.
Remember, this was a container for many other virtual machines. Okay. So the wedge here is that it allowed them to encrypt all of them. So there could be, tens or hundreds of VMs on here that they just locked. And this is where the ransomware, of course, comes in, where they say, oh, you want, your 100 servers back, and, for your 100 different clients that are crawling up your butt, screaming at you. Well, that'll be $100,000, please. Here's our Bitcoin wallet. Let's not forget that, of course, they're leveraging the power of the blockchain. So,
Obviously.
yes.
Why wouldn't they?
Hmm.
It's the future. It's the present. It's very now. All right.
Now, I didn't really
certainly very
understand this
now.
double
Yes.
extortion technique. What they call "We hacked your company successfully. All files have been stolen. If you want to restore your files and avoid leaks, please contact us." They hold the private key. Need to decrypt it.
Isn't that just regular extortion? Anytime
Yeah,
you...
it just
Well, yeah,
sounds
but
like
they've added a protection racket to it.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Oh, that now I get it. Okay, that makes sense.
Nice.
Shame if that data disappeared again now, wouldn't it be?
Yeah, now we'll make sure that no one else can hack you.
They can just change their title to security researchers, and then they can offer protection against such things, which is basically what any kind of security software solution is, just a protection racket, right? Keep
Put that up
paying
under their
Norton
white hats.
forever. All right.
I don't think there's a fix for that, by the way, yet. But okay, I'm not sure about that.
Yeah, it's fine.
Speaking of vulnerabilities,
0-day vulnerability. I'm guessing that's what vuln is short for. And
Hey,
Microsoft Office.
Felina.
aren't you? You got to be hip to read that as vuln. 0-day vuln.
0-day vuln at the register.
Yes.
Richard Speed wrote this article. Updated. InfoSec researchers have identified a 0-day code execution vulnerability in Microsoft's ubiquitous Office software. Dubbed Felina. Felina? The vulnerability has been
Felina.
floating. The vuln has been floating around for a while. So back to April.
I mean, you could honestly refer to Microsoft Support Diagnostic Tool as also just sort of a baked-in virus, because it'll just come back and say, well, we couldn't find what was wrong. Yeah, sorry. Problem is that it runs at an elevated level and makes a call to another section of Windows. And so they figured out a way that if you sort of carefully craft a specific type of Office file and you do it, when someone opens it, or if you're one of those bloody lunatics that likes to have Explorer with preview on, so you just float over a file and it shows you in the preview pane, well, guess what? You're infected. Isn't that nice?
Don't open
Microsoft-
attachments or hover your mouse over them either.
That's as
Microsoft
much as
was
it takes.
told this a while back, and they essentially said that, well, as long as you have the trusted execution policy going in Windows, so you only can launch things from trusted sources, it's going to block it. So we're not going to make it a security vulnerability. We're going to make it, a defect. And they were right to an extent in that no one exploited it until, well, now they have. And something that could have been fixed a while ago was not. Now, literally all you have to, what it is at its heart is an URL handler. Specifically, a Microsoft URL handler from within the OS to Office 365 with elevated privileges, because why wouldn't you give an URL handler elevated privileges? That's just common sense, right? You can literally kill it with a single registry change. And, we've been arguing about that in my day job as to whether, is it worth doing this and, finding the one idiot that's absolutely in love with the troubleshooter, to which I pointed out, well, you can still launch those. If you've completely gone barmy and want to go and launch Windows Help Center, it'll still go. It just breaks the URL handler. It doesn't break anything else. And you export the registry key so that eventually when Microsoft fixes it, you can just import it back in and people can have their little clicky back again. So, yeah, it's scary. It's awful. And seriously, just do a quick Google. There's one registry change. All it does is make those annoying troubleshooters go away and make it completely invulnerable. Eventually a patch will come out, I'm sure.
There's a post that says you can go to Microsoft Defender's attack surface reduction and make sure that Office is not allowed to create any child processes. So block all child processes from Office. That
except
supposed to mitigate it. Oh, there's an exception.
You can't block Explorer from creating child processes.
Nah, we were talking about Office.
So if you're in preview mode in Explorer and you hover over an Office document and it shows up in that preview pane, you're infected.
Newman.
So yes, well, Defender is better. Yeah, not necessarily perfect.
It's kind of like back in the day we had to turn off autoplay to be safe.
Yep.
Right.
Or a universal plug and play.
There was an update to the article. I scrolled to the bottom. I actually didn't notice this at first, that they did recognize this as not just an inconvenience or a lack of a feature. It's actually a legitimate security concern. They upgraded it to a security vulnerability with a real CVE and all that.
Just run Linux or Mac OS, but don't run Office on Mac. Although Office on Mac,
Office, LibreOffice,
Actually, Office on Mac has a certain original essence to it, if I might.
Yeah, a certain crappiness, a certain lack of functionality, a certain je ne sais quoi.
There's not
a certain je ne sais. You don't know what you want to do.
Yeah, a certain, hey, all of these features from the Windows version are just fucking missing because it sucks. All right, let's move on.
But you're an Apple person, so you'd never know.
No, wait, no, I'm thinking of, what was the Mac iWork program called?
Pages?
Numbers.
What are you talking about? Oh, Numbers.
Did you ever try to make charts in Numbers?
Well, you can.
Our former leader used to do. And they looked really nice, and I started doing the same thing. I had a Mac, and I'm like, all right, I'll get out the Mac Mini just to make my charts so they'll look like Jim's charts. But it was such a piece of shit. You would put in a new entry, you would try to add like a row, and it would break the formulas. Like, why? Why is this happening? And then stuff would disappear off the graph for no reason. You had to recreate the graphs every time you added something sometimes.
I think you're holding it wrong. You're holding it wrong.
Okay, I was holding the Mac Mini wrong. I was holding the mouse wrong. I was trying to charge my mouse while I used it, but you have to turn it upside down to charge it. So I was like,
turn it sideways. Yeah, sideways. It plugs at the bottom. It plugs at the bottom.
We buried the lead. Our top story tonight, Lian Li, O11D or Dynamic Mini. It's a case from Lian Li, and look at this build.
Nice.
Look at the lighting.
Oh, sweet.
Look at the purple like accent on the wall. I added about a 30% vignette to this as well to make it look more like a spotlight. Kent.
Nice.
What do you have to say for yourself?
It's a great case.
How did it take you this long to recognize that? How could you resist the charisma of Gerbauer for this long?
Because I'm stubborn and probably a bit stupid.
I considered removing that. Like, why would you write that about yourself? I put it in. I'm like, no, I have to respect the author's vision. Calling yourself stupid in a review. Okay.
Well, like I said, a lot of people, myself included, have a desire when they are trying to make something, they want it to be personalized and a little different. And anybody who's been following custom PC builds for the last 3 years knows that you can't swing a dead cat without hitting an 011 build somewhere. But this is the 011 Dynamic Mini. It's quite a bit smaller than the original 011 Dynamic, but you can still use up to ATX motherboards in it, even eATX.
There's no trickery here. You're not extending it upwards like that one Fantex case. It just stays
No,
in there.
you're not extending it upwards. You're just changing the position of the I/O on the back of the case.
By the way,
And
Trooper
there's-
beer is really overrated. It's not that good.
Oh,
I have one
there'll be
bottle, and I've never drank it
There'll be
because
a
I
fight.
don't drink.
hold on. So this is. Oh, I see. The cap is still in place. Let me go back here. So you just
Yeah.
have it because it's Iron Maiden's.
That's
Yeah.
correct. Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry,
It was not the
Robinson's
best thing,
Brewery,
which
if you're
I all know.
watching.
Mm-mm.
If we look very carefully here, if we look,
Ooh.
They have several different ones, and I've heard that they're
Good thing he's
newer
wearing
one
clothes.
called-
I know,
Unlike
I
that
was gonna
guy
say.
with the
Yeah.
I'm
teapot.
glad you don't photograph things in nude, Kent, because you're.
Oh.
right.
Yeah.
There he is.
Well.
Zoom and enhance.
I don't want to enhance.
Hits.
Why is he holding a banana? Oh no! So this is one of those dual chamber style cases.
It is a dual chamber style case. It's a really interesting design, though, with that offset, so that it doesn't really make the case that much wider.
Yeah.
And you still get a lot of usable space in the front. The unique design to this one is the removable PCI and I/O bracket on the rear that you
Yeah.
can just reposition where the rear I/O for the motherboard is.
This is so interesting. that,
depending,
sorry to interrupt. I have
Yeah.
on the screen, there's 3 different configurations you can look at on the Leon Lee website for this. And you're actually altering the number of expansion slots on the back of the case. There's a 7 slot, a 5 slot, and a 3 slot configuration, and you're moving like the location of the rear fan, like the exhaust fan mount. You're actually physically altering the back of the case.
hmm I actually have some photos in there that show the different positions.
Yeah. You have a lot of photos in here, Kent. You went a little crazy with the photos. At one point when I had 44 photos, and I was just like, what? Why? Why are there so many photos? And then I realized, oh, it's a video. This must just be a film strip of video. No, it's just photos.
Nope, it's just photos.
This is really cool.
And you added photos to what I sent you.
I know, because I'm like, I have to show this. Because they have this dual PSU bracket available for this now. You can have redundant power supplies, or just use one for like your GPUs and one for the.
That is
Come for an ATX.
really that's the one drawback I mentioned in the review, is that you cannot use an ATX power supply in this case. I really wish you could, because other than that, you could put just about any system you want in there, as high powered as you want, and still be able to cool it adequately, just because of the airflow design.
But Kent, I mean, isn't it kind of antiquated to think that we need such ridiculously high-powered power supplies? I mean, that was back. Wait a minute, hold on. No, sorry. Forget it. Oh, here we go.
You need
Here
a
are
power
those
supply
pictures.
just for your graphics card.
So
Come on.
here's
You
one
do, yeah.
rear configuration, and another. Notice how this has changed up here, and there's fewer expansion slots. And then look, a second one of those vented panels up top. The fan moves down even further, and there's only 3 expansion slots on the bottom.
Magic.
I bet I could fit an optical drive in there.
Ooh, rear-facing optical drive.
Oh,
I mean, it's
my
not
God.
small, but
Stop it.
They have provided the CAD files for this on their website, so you can go and design something, and then just commission Lian Li to build it. They do stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know, look at that easy access to your storage through a rear panel. Slide those hard drives out of there.
I could put an optical drive in there too. I got two of them in there now.
I don't know if 3.5-inch drive bays are wide enough for optical, but I like where your head's at.
Wire snip or tin snips.
I like how
You have
Tower's name is featured in here.
You only
a
have the
dangerous
mini
amount of
CDs.
What? Look, multiple pictures
Need a-
of Kent.
Even a
screwing.
mini CD drive.
It's a very clean looking case. It looks like it would be really, really easy to build in because it's so.
It is. It's one of the easiest cases to build in I've ever used. Mainly because the front is completely open when you remove the panel. The back is very open. You've got that the spots to the right of the motherboard tray, which are fully open, and you can pull the whole I/O out to work in it. So you can basically almost work in it like it's a test bench.
Have you done the shake test on it? Do things rattle around? Because you've got a lot of moving parts in there that are just done by screws.
Oh no! When it's in this configuration, it does feel a little flimsy. But as soon as you put the rear I/O back on, the whole case just tightens up.
Would you stand on it when it's in this open frame configuration?
No.
This is steel,
No.
right? This is predominantly steel.
It is steel.
Okay. So it's not some.
Yeah, what's the shear on those two screws at the top post? Yeah, not going to mess with it.
Although a very handsome looking back panel here. I know it's tempered glass on one side, nice brushed. Is that aluminum? Is that aluminum?
It is. It is. The top and back panel are brushed aluminum.
Nice.
So much intake.
This is a very ventilated case, but Lian Li knows what they're doing. I mean, they made the N case M1. They made the Dan cases.
Well, once they glassed in the front, they really went the extra mile to give you options to vent from the side or intake from the side, or in this case, as the picture indicates, vent from the bottom, which gives there's enough clearance as well as filters down there.
In image 44 here, I can see one of your complaints about the case very clearly. The motherboard cutout only gives you access to half of the CPU. What are we doing wrong here? Is it supposed to be? Is Intel more in the center of this, and you used AMD?
No, it's just the design of that case. It's almost like they designed it for mini ITX and then said, if we did these couple of things, you could still fit a micro ATX or an ATX in here. I think that for stability and rigidity of the case, they couldn't have made that hole any wider. But if you're using a mini ITX motherboard, you have full access to that, the CPU socket. But if you're going with a full width motherboard, it's cut in half like you see there.
Yeah. All right, let's
and
talk
to
about
use micro ATX or ATX motherboards, there's a panel that comes with the case that has to be screwed in to extend the tray.
Gotcha.
Yeah, you can see it there. It's not.
Look at all those
attached to the
AMD
picture.
motherboards.
Yeah, I've got a
many.
few.
It's time lapse. It's growing.
And changing brands.
Yeah. You moved up. You're like, you know what? Started at the
We all
bottom.
change over time.
Not really. And this isn't a no offense, BioStar, but it's not a BioStar board. All right. How did it perform?
You can fit with micro ATX or mini ITX. You can fit two 360 millimeter radiators, and one in the top, one in the bottom, and a 240 on the side if you feel you need to. with an ATX, you can still fit a 360 on top, but you have to get the offset brackets, which are $9. I almost wish Lee and Lee included them, but they came out after the case. I think they didn't believe a lot of people would be wanting to use full-size ATX motherboards in this chassis when they had introduced it. And then when they saw a demand, they just released the offset brackets.
By the way, we haven't talked about price yet. I feel like this version that you have with the power supply is actually a really good deal.
It's a stunning deal. I could not believe it when I saw it.
Is that the 750? Is that the
Yeah, here's
750?
the SP750 SFX power supply from Lee & Lee, which has this nice brushed aluminum here. It's $119 on its own if you go to Newegg right now. The whole case, including that power supply, is $189.
That's dirt cheap. I was not expecting that.
And when I ordered it for my friend's son that I'm building the system for, it was $169. So
That's ridiculous.
yeah, it was a ridiculous deal. The only difference is if you buy that power supply by itself, it comes with sleeved cables.
Okay.
And they're
like
not
flat ribbon
sleeved
style.
if you get the kit.
Okay. Okay.
They're sort of flat ribbon style, but they still work. And the way the case is designed, they sort of hide pretty well.
Yeah, your build was very clean. I'm sure everybody saw the first image. I'll pull that up again, but this looks like just your test build, which has, it's not like a hardline liquid cooling or anything fancy, but look how clean this is with just regular ribbon cables, all in one liquid cooler.
What are the things that you do with the on the GPU, the graphics card? Are those EVGA ones that?
No, those are actually, you can get those on Amazon just dirt cheap. They're just a 180. You get them in a set of 4, and 2 of them come with the attachment flipped one way, and 2 come with it flipped the other way.
Nice.
And they
Maybe that should be your
really
pick
help
of the
clean
week.
up the case.
Hey, somebody needs to pick that. That is
Yeah.
Okay, performance. How did it perform relative to the same components on the open test bed?
The CPU actually ran cooler inside the case,
Yeah, that's pretty typical.
and the GPU was slightly warmer, but not by much, and still very well within a reasonable temperature range.
And
And that was actually with only 2 120 millimeter fans blowing from the bottom as intake. If you populated all 3, I think the GPU would actually run even cooler.
So what's the verdict? I mean, considering the price, the fact you get a PSU with this one, just like in the old days, you buy a case, you get a power supply.
You know,
Such a reliable one, too.
What I say at the end of this, and it was actually my feeling pretty early on in my evaluation of this chassis, is this might be my next enclosure as well, because it is small. You can put it on a desk, and it's wide, but it still doesn't take up much room because it's not that long front to back, and it's not very tall. But you can put a lot of high power hardware in this and not worry about having cooling capacity. You could even air cool in this, although, as I mentioned, if you're going to air cool and you want a case this size, I think you would be better off going with the O11 Mini Air, because it comes with 140 millimeter fans in the front and a 120 in the rear. And the sizes are almost identical, but Lee & Lee made it so that you can use an ATX power supply in the Mini Air,
Okay.
but not the Mini. So, but yeah, if you're doing a liquid cooling build, you could put anything you want in this case, and you're going to be able to cool it adequately. And it's an easy case to build in. And I gave it the gold award, and it might be my next case.
Curse you, Der Bauer. You're right.
It's nice.
That's a
looking
neat
case.
product. Yeah, I mean, especially for the price. Lian Li is usually, I mean, you got a premium there.
Oh, yeah.
Even if, and you got brushed aluminum for parts of it, even though it's a steel frame. Yeah, that's a neat.
Unfortunately, I
kind of thinking out of the box. No
Yeah,
pun intended.
unfortunately, the final build for that is not even, there are no photos of, because we had to RMA apart, which we're still waiting to get back. But it's going to have a full custom hardline loop in it.
Should have just bought a Dell.
236.
I mean, instead of worrying about building your own system and RMAing parts, just get yourself a Dell.
Just for grins, go and throw the tempered glass on the floor, and then see if they'll replace that for you.
Yeah, do it on a live stream, preferably, while the owner or
even
the
faster.
president of the company is watching.
You gotta fumble it a little bit,
And
sort
make
of like,
sure that it's an $11,000 computer you only have on a temporary loan.
Blah.
And do you
Well, that
remember
works
how
for
I was
Linus.
desperately
I don't know.
trying to text you? Don't.
I think in the aftermath, I picked up my phone and looked at it just in stunned disbelief, and then I saw that I had multiple texts from Josh warning me, "Don't pick it up like that. Don't do this." Like, it's too late now. It's broken on the concrete
Oh
floor.
well, but you know what? It makes a good story, and
It's
Talking
true.
Northwest
Yeah.
set you up.
Kelt is a nice guy.
Yes.
What are those PCI angle things? Angle adapter?
Brackets.
Oh, easy
What I heard,
DIY fab, or is it the
Oh.
Comeep?
I
Comey.
don't even remember which brand I ordered.
They're probably all the
but,
same stuff. They're the same price. Amazon's choice is the Comeep GPU VGA PCI 8-pin U-turn adapter.
Oh,
Desktop
there's-
graphics card.
There's a number of different approaches to this. If you do a quick search for GPU 180-degree adapter, you'll see 3 or 4 different ways of doing this.
Okay.
inexpensive and fun.
Yes, indeed.
And fun.
Mm-hmm.
Should be
And
a pick.
fun.
They
Speaking
should
of
be.
fun,
They
Are
work
you talking
well.
about like Willow the movie pick?
Yes.
No?
Okay.
No. Yes.
Always
No.
pick Willow.
or the upcoming Willow series?
Yes, coming in November. I rewatched the original Willow, and you know what? That actually has kind of withstood the test of time.
Yep.
It's still an enjoyable film to watch. Unlike a lot of other 80s movies.
No.
Ron Howard.
Die
man.
Hard.
Okay, Die Hard is
Top
still
Gun.
Ah, come on, best
Top
Christmas
Gun.
movie
Top
ever
Gun
made.
did not age well.
Best Christmas movie ever made, Jeremy. Correct.
Yeah. RoboCop held up.
Yep.
Yeah.
Top Secret.
You're
I'd buy that
fired.
for a dollar.
Great film.
Unfortunately,
You're
it was
fired.
supposed to be fiction and not the textbook to be followed.
Not the real Detroit. Yeah.
Yeah, sadly.
All right. Let us move to picks of the week. And Josh will get us started, as is tradition.
Okay. You know what? Maybe with these prices rising, you should just buy a video card. Bite down. Just get it. And so for my pick, it's this XFX Speedster Kick 319. Not the Merc 319. This is the 6700 XT, only for $520. I mean, that is a $45 increase from MSRP of a 6700 XT. But again, it's overbuilt, slightly overclocked. It's got all those other XFX features that I love so much with the Merc 319. But this one is cheaper. Still got 12 gigs of memory. It's as fast as a 3070 in non-RT applications. Yeah, this is a nice little product to get if you do need an upgrade, and a lot of people do still.
Excellent. As I finally turn my mic back on, I'm sensing a trend here too. Not to give anything away, but Jeremy,
Yeah.
your pick this week.
So now I'm not in love with the 6600, but if you're literally desperate for a GPU, like you need more than either AMD or Intel can offer you with an iGPU, and the one that you've been depending on for 4 or 5 years now did suddenly die because of that overclock you've been doing, and you literally you can't spend say $500 on a GPU. And this is Canadian, so hopefully you can find it for cheaper in America if you're shopping down there. But seriously, $395 for a 6600 core 8 gig, it gives you something that is relatively current generation. It's not great. It's not an amazing video card, but it is a 1080p mid-range card for less than $500. Not so bad. I think the instant savings are a little bit exaggerated because it should never be sold for $670, but $395, that's about.
By the
where
way,
it
this podcast is not sponsored by XFX.
True. They've never given me
Pause for a
anything.
commercial. No.
Let's pause for a word from XFX, the leader in AMD-powered graphics cards.
Merc. Swift.
By the way, is it quick? Is it cute? Is
Kick.
it kick or quick?
I don't.
Because
I
Swift
said quick.
is easy.
I think it's
said
quick.
Is it quick? Okay.
I
I'm
would've
gonna
said
go with
I wish
quick.
they would use more letters, like
Yeah.
more of the letters in each word.
It's not as cool. So remember Vuln? Vuln.
Yeah.
It's like that. It's like that.
Not quite vulva, but it's not even close.
Okay.
No.
I'm looking up the conversion to Freedom units, and it looks like about $312 US for that graphic.
That's pretty good for a
Yeah.
higher end 6600.
It's the
But for
XT.
1080p
I mean, I
card?
remember a little while back thinking it was great that
bad
you could
at
buy a
all.
6600 for $299, and this is a 6600 XT.
Wait, no, is it? Are you sure it's an XT? Wait,
It's
I
not
thought
an
it was just a
XT.
regular XT.
Wait,
No,
no,
it's
I'm
a
wrong.
regular one.
Wait, it's a regular one. I'm confused because Gavin Thomas in our YouTube chat just said Swift 210 6600 XT $399 in the US. Okay,
That makes sense.
That makes sense. All right, I
Yeah.
don't know what I'm talking about as usual.
The XT was not on quite as good a special. It was almost 600, which is sorry, you don't pay that.
For that price, a 6600 is pretty good.
And like if you're desperate and you've got
Yeah.
less than $500 to blow on a GPU, that's not a bad one.
But if you got an extra $20,
Yeah, but when GPUs were affordable, it was such a mess because there was a new GPU every like $5 to $10.
yeah.
But if I just spend $20 more, but if I spend $10 on top of that, you could never decide.
Yeah, next thing you know, you got a $600 GPU that's top end.
You've talked.
Yeah, it's top end
for
GPU for
$600.
$600. Thanks, Josh.
Yeah.
Look, if you buy the
Yeah,
most
bloody
expensive
hell.
one, the worst that could happen to you is that you'll end up divorced. I mean, nothing else. You'll never regret buying it. You'll just
I'm sure if
Have
I
more
came
time
in
to
with
play
a
with it.
$2,000 GPU,
The first sort of
That would be
top
more
end
than I-
GPU I bought was a GTX 780,
Mhm.
and I want to say it was around 5.25,
1,000.
525, and
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
of course
my original Voodoo graphics was $299.
yeah, right.
And that was after the price cut, because originally they were offered at like $399 to $449. But then the price of memory dropped dramatically, and they were able to cut the card down to $299.
Yeah.
That was my, and then the Voodoo 2 was a little bit more expensive than that, but not much.
I remember
First one I
mocking the
bought a
Titan
second
series.
780.
Well,
should
you
have
could
bought
buy
two.
that second one in the second days, in those old days, and it was almost worth it.
It was almost worth it.
Was it the 6800 Ultra was one of the first cards to go over $1,000? BFG had a really super version that had double the memory. And it was over
maybe.
$1,000.
Was it one of those ones that was like SLI'd on the card itself?
No, that was before.
Okay.
Those were even available other than the ATI Max, and that was still a $500 card at the time.
Yeah.
And that was crap. You wasted your money if you tried to buy that.
God, yeah.
Yeah.
No, it was the Titan series I remember mocking for the first time, getting over $1,000 and wanting people to spend it.
Yeah. Now, BFG had a 6800 Ultra that was double the amount of memory that the regular 6800 Ultra had, and it was over $1,000.
What did BFG stand for? Was it Big Effing GPU?
Sure.
It didn't actually stand for anything. He just used that because Doom
Yeah.
and Quake.
I get it. Brett has a pick this week.
I do. You're probably, if you're watching this podcast, you're probably one of those technophiles who arrives wherever you're going with just the right number of cables. However, your friends are idiots and they never bring the right set of cables. So throw a couple of these in your travel bags. It is pretty harsh. Maybe not idiots. Maybe just like, oh, I forgot. I brought my drone, or maybe dumbasses. I got my Samsung or my iPhone or whatever. Throw a couple of these in your bag. You got yourself covered. You got your buddies covered. The price is right. It's twofer. You get a two for 5 foot of these cables for $8.46.
Okay, I was hoping that this was one cable. I thought this is the craziest monstrosity I've ever seen.
No, it's the twofer. You get a twofer of these.
And not only that, but if your friends are acting badly, you can whip them with it.
You know what? This has got sort of that braided look to it, where it'll probably hold up to some whipping.
Oh, sure. Yeah, because it has that look to it. Therefore, it must be quality. It has that.
But I need to charge my old BlackBerry.
Look.
I don't see one for that.
Hey, at least it has strain relief on it. Let's give it that for $8.46.
Anodized aluminum enclosure surrounding
it has
the plug.
a chamfered edge.
And then the stress relief.
That's what I meant.
Designed to fit into all kinds of cases.
I would call this the iPhone 1 color scheme here.
I feel like you're trying to make fun of me,
plastic at the bottom,
but it's not really landing. It's not really landing.
Yeah,
anyway,
you seem to be impervious
you
to
don't
it,
think
unfortunately.
it is.
Not today. So look at this Type C. They call it iOS, which just says
the
lightning.
iOS plug. I've never seen that before.
They didn't use the lowercase I.
I know it's not. Clearly, this doesn't have the branding blessing, but it probably
works.
Does
that mean it doesn't work?
Who knows? But for $8.46, it probably works just fine. Type C, lightning cable, micro. Anyway, get yourself covered. Get your buddies covered. Throw a couple of these in your bag. You'll never be without the right USB cable for $8.46.
9,000 bend lifespan.
Well, how many times do you bend your cables? Do you even count?
I have not actually counted, I have to admit. But look at this. This is half price right now.
It's aluminium alloy. You did see that, right? When you had
but alloy means they mix it with other stuff.
So
is it really aluminium anymore?
Well, I suppose if you wore them as earrings, they might discolor over a period of time, so let it go.
Well, I mean, it's from Oldie Tang, so it's a full Tang cord.
Anyway, less than $9, 2 5-foot cords, power all your USB, get on with your life.
And if it sucks, just return it, because it's Amazon.
It's Amazon. They'll take it back. But your buddies will thank you because you can charge their drone or their whatever device they brought with them, probably.
Yeah, their drone. All your
Samsung
buddies
phone.
who come over don't bring their drone charging cable.
Or their Samsung phone or whatever.
Can't save us.
Teslas. Yep.
Okay, well, for my pick this week is the EVGA XR1 Lite capture card. It's a 1080p.
Wait, that captures light?
Yes, it captures light and passes it through in the form of electrons. It's got 1080p 60 frame per second video capture, 4K 60 frame per second pass through. But the trick is you got to get it from Ant Online, and it's $47.99 shipped, plus tax probably, but and you just can't beat that price on it for a good quality USB 3 capture card.
Well, you could beat the price, but you need to do it from the privacy in your own home.
Well, you'd need one of those cables that Brett recommended for whipping it.
Your friends are not idiots. Your friends are not idiots. They're just dumbasses.
Have you met my friends?
Yeah. Some of them
hang out
like
with you guys. Come on.
But
Oh, wait a minute. My
Hey.
friends are idiots.
At least he has friends.
At least there's that.
My pick this
My
week, and I've been trying to stay calm about this, but we make jokes about Intel Arc graphics, desktop graphics, that sort of thing, and I'm not under any kind of NDA, so I'm actually going to show it. No, actually, no, I don't have anything. No pick this week.
What did you write? What is this? What did you have here? What is this?
I
well, I
didn't put
gave
that
him
on
a
there.
pick.
Who
somebody
I
did
gave
gave
me
this?
him a
that
pick.
pick.
He needs one, obviously.
The clapboard.
Actually, that's not a
Hollywood
it's not
style
a bad pick for
clapboard.
you. It's not a bad pick. It's not bad.
No, it's not. But we don't need an outro. I'm just going to cut off the podcast when I say I have something to show. I'm going to reach down and it's going to go black. So
Sebastian is now the podcast Moyle.
stop recording.
He's grown into it.
All right. You know what? I even made a thumbnail
bored
already.
for it.
I'm so on top of it. I have a thumbnail
Wow.
for the podcast all saved. Just ready to edit this thing. Who needs sleep?
Edit like the wind.
That will be Kent when he was frozen, I'm assuming.
I hope so.
So, Sebastian, what is behind you? I can't quite make it out.
What's behind me?
Yeah.
It's called a blur. It's a
Oh,
blur
it's a
filter.
monitors.
behind it.
Okay, but
Well, and he's got a
I
radiator
saw Final
on a test
Fantasy
bench.
garbage.
There's it's some weird Final Fantasy stuff.
From the floor.
Yeah, I'm currently podcasting from the floor. We have a widescreen monitor here of some
But of
description.
course.
We
Yeah, I
a-
have that AOC monitor. That's nice.
I don't know why the lighting is off on this. The whole point of having this back there was for the lighting, and now I can't remember the button combo to get the lights to turn back on.
Just whack it a couple of
There's
times.
this thing called the
There
internet.
it is.
Oh, there it is.
So that was supposed to be glowing behind me this whole time, and then some random, graphics card. We have some old crap on the shelf up here.
Monkey Island.
Star
is not
Trek
crap.
puzzle that I made built.
Oh no, the Intel Overdrive processor.
Yes, and one of my prized possessions is the PC Gamer Classic Games Collection. CD-ROM. It's great. Has a lot of classic titles
Oh,
on it.
and the Corsair light sticks. That's what those are, of course.
Yes.
And
Yep.
the Falcon Northwest mug.
Yeah, the
Always-
one.
always a classic.
I got to keep the mug and the T-shirt when I did that Threadripper system. I told
Nice.
Kels, I'm like, do I have to send the accessory box back? He was like, no. I'm like, good, because I was keeping the T-shirt and the mug anyway. And the
Have you ever
coffee.
had the urge to drop the mug just to feel the nostalgia for the system?
No, but I looked on when I was doing the last Falcon review, that Tiki, I was talking to him about like the case or something, because people ask sometimes about buying the cases and stuff separately, or having their old systems rebuilt with new components. And if you go on eBay, there's rarely anything on there. There might be a random Tiki case here and there, but you don't find like the vintage, like Mach 5 or older Falcon Northwest systems on eBay really at all. Apparently people just hang on to these things forever. I don't know if it's because they have like personalized nameplates on them or something, but
A lot of personalized art.
yeah.
Mhm.
But the mug, if you find a Falcon Northwest mug on eBay, they go for like $30. Like it's a plastic mug, but you can't get it without buying the system. They don't sell anything separately. You can't buy one of their enclosures. You can't buy the mug. You just got to buy the system. It's a mark of prestige.
It's you can't have exclusivity without exclusion.
Well, hey, it's not. Hold on.
It's true.
We're all right.
Don't.
Make this one better.
It's really that's
Can I have
what
that time
discrimination is all about. It's being discriminating in your tastes. It's being discriminating in the way that you treat others.
It's
Based
the
on your-
root word.
It's the root. Okay, we're gonna have an etymological discussion about this.
Oh God, here we go. God.
All right. Whoa, hold on a second. Windows cannot access PC per NAS. Oh, I have that. I have that shut off. I had my power shut off on me twice lately. Not because I didn't pay the bill or anything, because they literally one day the guy came to the house and I just saw some stranger messing around the corner of my house. So I walk out there and I was like, "Can I help you?" He's like, "Oh, yeah, I'm here to change out your meter. I'm contracted by your power company." I'm like, okay, I'm not seeing a power truck around here. And he proceeds to give me about a 5 to 10 second warning before he rips the meter off the side of the house, which turns off my power.
Run,
So
boy.
I ran in the house and hit there's a shut-off button on the front of the Synology NASA's. I held that in thinking, okay, so we'll initiate the soft shutdown, and then the power goes off.
Oh, wow.
So everything shuts down. NAS was fine. At least I think it is. And then, a couple days later, my family leaves the house. My wife and kid and I all get in the car and drive somewhere. And by the time we get there, I'm getting text messages. I think we're at a restaurant. Saying, your power is out. And the time of restoration expected. And it was like, what? Hold on a second. We just left. And apparently the power was out the whole time we were gone. Come back home. NAS was hard shut off again. So I need to buy a UPS for it. I have no excuse.
Yeah, that might be a good idea.
Absolutely, I know.
You should
Neil,
get one.
You're
You should
absolutely
get
right.
one.
I have no excuse. Well, I had a NAS or UPS for it, but it died. It was a Cyber Power something or other, and it died.
I don't know why, but Costco is apparently a good source for decent UPSs.
Yeah, they're cheap. They're cheap there.
And they're like pure wave and everything, which just doesn't make any sense. But there you go.
I bought a few from a Canadian company. I think it's UPS for Less. They sell kind of refurbs and stuff like that.
Oh,
But they guarantee them.
The other works there.
They
I give
do.
them my dead batteries. They refurb them.
Yeah, and I had an issue with one. They sent me a brand new one with no questions asked.
That's nice.
They sent me a different one, a different refurbed one.
I had
Yeah.
the Cyber Power fail on me pretty early on, and I contacted them, and they sent me a new one. And they just asked me to send the old one back. I think they gave me a prepaid label for that. But then when it died the second time, it wasn't even a battery issue. It was just dead. And I haven't gone through it. I don't know enough to actually know what's wrong with it. But I just need to buy a new one. And my APC one is also starting to fail. There's
awesome.
old.
So UPS for Less has got a APC Smart UPS 750 VA. That's plenty for a NAS.
For a NAS?
and
Yeah, don't even need that.
Oh yeah, way. You could get a computer on that or something else. 223
Nice.
for that one.
You can't
Well,
really
the problem is when you get the higher voltage ones, the weight goes up significantly.
Oh, here's the back UPS one, which doesn't have as much smarts in it for 153, and it's a 1300 VA refurb, of course, but one of those sort of desk side tower ones with the LED display.
I didn't need enough intelligence for it to plug into the back
Lord.
of the NAS and initiate a soft
You know,
shutdown.
I
How
would
many people
not-
use the smart UPSs? Do you, Josh?
No.
No.
So I would not put a lithium ion battery behind my desk for a UPS. I'm sorry. I'm just
Boring.
I mean, sure, nothing probably is going to happen. But holy shit. If
Why is
something
my
does,
desk
my
pushing
house
me
is just,
back?
why is my cat going crazy? Because I'm asleep and my UPS is an inferno right next to my wall. And you've seen
The
my
videos
office.
you see of Teslas that have caught on fire and they're just
Oh man. Well, Richard
Well, you
Hammond
got to
was
remove
lucky
the rear
to get out of-
speaker and then
out
look
of
for the
that,
secret button.
that crash when he crashed that electric
Yeah.
and the battery started on fire and they didn't actually put it out for hours. Yeah. It's I just can't I couldn't do that. I could not. Lead acid is fine for me. Yeah, they wear out, but
Yeah, you got to
Everything
replace them every
does.
couple of years.
Yeah.
yeah.
Mm.
No, the good old marine battery hooked up, Way you go.
Yeah.
Oh, I've done that trick with external batteries to give a longer runtime, and then cabled them into the case. It's fine. It'll be fine.
Who is there has periodically been a noise, and I thought it was just me. I thought it was headphone cable noise, but like a bumping the
Is it this?
microphone.
I haven't touched this in a while, though. Is it this?
Sounds like that.
Is it me?
I'm not doing it.
It was
Oh.
deeper. It was bassy like that. Yeah.
Oh, Jeremy.
It's
No,
No,
Jerry.
that was me.
Yes.
Oh, Ken.
Oh, it's the
Yeah.
new guy. It's the new guy,
Oh.
Ken, tonight.
You need a shotgun on your desk, don't you?
Kent, you weren't able to bring your nicer mic over
It's
after
because
your
he had a
shower.
disastrous situation and he had to quickly move to a different
No, I'm using this little XR, not
Yeah.
XR1, Solocast.
Oh, that's not a
What
bad
is
mic,
this?
though.
The Solocast Lite?
No, it is-
It's a HyperX. It's a HyperX.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes,
Not sponsored.
it's the
It's sitting right on the desk, so-
Solocast.
Not sponsored.
And
Not
the
sponsored.
stand is not the greatest, but it works.
It's okay.
Mm.
People will
This
be able to live.
Almost sponsored by HyperX. Almost.
I'm just anticipating the
Almost.
comments. Like, I'm not going to go through and try to eliminate those. So, unfortunately, it is what it is.
Deal with it.
I am what I am, and I am what I
That's-
am.
Owl said I am.
Hold on a second. I was looking at UPS's here. I'm thinking, maybe I just need one of these little slim ones put behind the desk because it's in the living room. Actually, it's weird. There's a cabinet. Anyway,
Those things are such crap.
Yeah.
look at this.
Uh,
You can get 50% off gift wrap with code
Oh.
giftwrap50. Yes, honey, I got it for it's for Mother's Day.
Surprise!
It's 600
Ah.
VA.
Well, I
The
mean,
battery
Father's
they-
Day is coming up, so maybe that's what you're going to get.
Battery.
Is a nice gift wrapped UPS.
I'll just tell my wife, hey, I need a UPS for the NAS.
The runtime on those small ones is just not very good.
I don't
it's
care about
terrible.
runtime. That wouldn't have smart features anyway. I want it to tell the NAS, hey, shut down safely, please. That's all.
I don't know if they've got smart features in a really tiny.
Because I don't know
one
if you're
like
aware
that.
of this or not, but when the power is out throughout the whole building, I don't need to access the NAS anymore.
Really? That's weird.
That's
Yeah,
a
it's
shock.
just my
Yeah,
thinking.
strange.
I usually find that when the power goes out in my neighborhood, that my inside the house Wi-Fi lasts longer than my connection to my internet provider. I just like it like that.
Yeah, I was lucky. Last time the power went out, even though we had a storm and everything, my tiny single strand of fiber didn't get knocked out. Dangling as it is, precariously, just from the pole to the house, just hanging. It's such a flimsy solution. Anyway,
Well, maybe you can just put your fingers in it.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's fine. It's a mechanical
Tighten it
connection.
all up.
All right. Anything else before we end the live stream?
No.
Okay. Mercifully. At
No.
12 a.m. 12:03 a.m.
All
All right. Taking the stream down. Thanks, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Cheers.